We are live. Hey, Fish. Happy New Year, buddy.
Back at you, buddy. It's been a couple weeks. Any sports going on today?
No. It's just a completely dry day. It's nothing's going on. So just go and drink heavily.
Well, yeah, that's tonight. I'm working at the wonderful Shucks Tavern on North Durango for New Year's Eve and bringing the New Year cheer, and not a lot of cheer here in Vegas with the Raiders. We were basically limited since the last time we did a show, and Derek Carr's weeping somewhere, but we're still going to play the game and move on and get ready for baseball season.
Are you going to pay attention to the 49ers game with the Raiders tomorrow?
Of course. I missed one Raider game in 44 years. I'm going to watch. Okay. I mean, I don't expect much. That's what my son said. He goes, "Dad, what do you expect?" And I said, "Not a lot." You have a backup quarterback. They got a third-string quarterback, Stranger things have happened. Let me give you scenarios, though, because this is interesting. If these things happen, Dallas already beat the Titans. If Philly beats New Orleans, John, and the Giants beat the Colts, I expect both. Then the NFC is almost locked up. If Tampa beats Carolina, there's no drama going into Week 18. In the AFC, the only drama, no matter what happens tomorrow, we'll talk about it more on Monday, and we'll get Hardline to make a prediction. The Titans play the Jaguars for the division. The Jags could lose tomorrow. It doesn't matter. The Titans are banged up. So the NFL doesn't want that. They don't want all the seeds to happen before Week 18. But that's the only thing that could derail the NFL in Week 18 is we need a couple upsets to make more drama. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, there's still a lot of teams that are kind of in contention. I mean, they've got some long shots there. The one game that's going to be that I think is going to be really interesting is Monday night, the Bills and the Bengals, to decide who's going to be the top spot of the AFC. Be curious to see how they both play that, because I think both teams are guaranteed a home field advantage, at least in the first playoff game, I would think. So They both win your division, you get a home game. And unfortunately, we have the whole South stinks. All the teams have losing records in the South, AFC and NFC. So this is the nitty-gritty, but today is basically devoted to college football. Two great games yesterday I watched. UCLA and Pitt was phenomenal. And then Notre Dame and South Carolina, unreal. So the weekend for the bowl season is just dynamic, and I want to get your picks. Forget the points. I'll get your opinions. Do you think TCU has a chance, John, to upset Michigan? And do you think Ohio State has a chance to upset Georgia? I think they both do. I think the games will be fairly close, but I see Michigan and Georgia winning. And I'll give you a good example of when you were talking about the South Carolina Notre Dame game. South Carolina, I mean, through the season, just did some amazing stuff at the end of the season. Notre Dame had a chance to really understand for the last 4 or 5 weeks what was going on with South Carolina, and they shut them down in the second half. You could tell Notre Dame had a better line. They were able to shut down the passing game. My thing is with Georgia is they've got 4 great running backs. And Kirby Smart's done a great job of making sure that all those players are rested. And even if they are injured, he's got somebody coming in there. I see Georgia winning fairly easily. I don't think it's going to be a runaway, but I think they win easily. I think also with Michigan, although I love TCU, I think TCU is really good. So I'm going to say right now, I think it's going to be Michigan and Georgia in the finals. I think you're going to see 2 good games tonight. But I don't think you're going to see massive upsets. Now, me saying that obviously means something's going to happen. So give me your take.
Well, listen, one goes off at 4:00 Eastern. So we'll have an afternoon game here on the West Coast. That's TCU and Michigan. I agree with you. I think there'll be one upset. And I love this kid, Max Duggan out of TCU. Big red-headed kid. Got freckles all over himself. He's a baller. And we'll see. Well, look, if CJ Stroud gets hot for Ohio, I'm rooting for Ohio State. My whole my in-law, my wife, her whole family's from Ohio. Your wife's from Ohio, so I'm rooting for Ohio State. But could you imagine if it was Ohio State and Michigan in the national championship game? Wow, the NCAA would eat that up. But no, one
Well,
thing.
look at last year. Last year
One more
was
point.
I was just say last year was Alabama and Georgia, and so it would be kind of a little bit of a repeat, but
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
expecting. Yeah,
And one thing to keep in mind, I think you'll agree with me on this. These four teams, if you're not a college football fan, but you love the NFL, I guarantee you that there's 8 to 10 guys on these four teams combined that are in the first round of the NFL draft. If you watch it, you'll say, "Oh, I know that guy. I watched him. He's going to my team." So
yeah.
Georgia and Alabama, Georgia's just a powerhouse for people in the NFL, and so is Ohio State. So it'll be a lot of fun. What's your take? I'm going to switch gears here. Did you see the contract Ronaldo got by going to the soccer team? I forgot its name in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
75 million a year guarantee, and with endorsements, you can make $100 million a year. Wow.
Yeah.
I say wow a lot. Wow. It's shocking
And he
the
gets to
sports
play
world.
on the
It's
Live
shocking
golf
the
tournament
soccer
too.
world. Well, not only that, it's the same ramifications. It would be the same analogy as Tiger Woods going to the Live. It's just he's the number one person in that sport besides Lionel Messi. So something there. Let me ask you another thing. I'm gonna roundhouse you a little bit. Did you hear the story that Carlos Correa, the Mets are backing away from Carlos Correa, and the Giants have now put another, hey, if you want to go there, because the Mets did give him a physical, and they're not signing this guy. What is it? His foot, or what's the problem there? Because this is a funny story.
It is a strange one, and I think a lot of it has to do with Scott Boras, his agent, who's so good, getting him into a lot of places. But he had this injury. I'm thinking probably back around 2015 or so. And so it's a nagging injury. And if you're going to have this guy, you're going to pay this guy, 300 million, and he's going to be on the DL a lot. I don't think you want to do that. Now, great. He's a great ball player. And, but he's not a 300 hitter. If his leg is bothering him, you don't want him at shortstop. You may put him at third base. So yeah, I think there's some big questions there. He might have to come down on his price a bit. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? That it's one of the strangest free agent signings that I've seen. I don't remember seeing anything like that.
Crazy, right? The NBA and NHL aren't really intriguing me right now. We're not even at the halfway point of the season, and it's all about the East. The Celtics are tremendous at 26-10. The Nets have won 9 out of the last 10 games. So the Kyrie and Kevin Durant are coming around, but we'll get more with that on Hardison on Monday. NHL, the teams that are supposed to be good are good, and so there's not a lot of drama there. So we make up our own drama. So I'm going to ask you something real quick. Give me your funniest New Year's Eve story that you've gone through with you and your wife at a bar, when you were single. I got a ton of them. I got one I'll nail down, but what's your funniest New Year's Eve recollection? And I'm going to piss people off, but we're not the woke culture on this thing, and we don't subside to the camp. But you being Irish, you probably enjoy this holiday more than anybody else.
Hi, laddie. Oh yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, I've had. Give me yours first, because you might jog something in my memory again, because I drank so much on New Year's Eve. I probably don't remember any of the stories. Anyway, give me yours.
I was working at a bar restaurant here in Las Vegas. It was New Year's Eve, and it was 5:00, and people go to restaurants and eat early. You get a busy restaurant crowd. Then they go home to whatever, they parties, or go to bars to celebrate the New Year. I see this guy and this guy, and they're sitting at the end of the bar, and he just sold her a car, but they're hitting it off really good. So she goes to the bathroom. All right. Then he leaves and goes to the bathroom, and I don't see them get out of the bathroom. So I say to another bartender that's working with me, the kid's name is Jason, watch the bar. And I walk in the men's room. Meanwhile, I have kids in the I'm managing this place, and I have kids in the restaurant. So I say to Jason, watch the bar. I go in the men's room, nothing. I walk in the women's room, and he's got her skirt up, and she's naked, and he's just banging her right there on the counter. And I go like this, and she makes eye contact with me, and she goes, "Can't you see we're fucking busy? Get out." I said, "Me get out." Welcome. Well, they both left. They came, right? They were so apologetic. They came over and they tipped me $100. He did it because he said, "Please don't tell my manager across the street over at Centennial Toyota what I was doing." Yeah, you sold the car and you gave a really good warranty, but there's great stories about New Year's Eve. Really quick, I don't want to bore anybody. If you're a bartender in this business, it's tough. It's amateur night. Everyone wants to, what kind of shots you doing? They want to do the blowers and this and that. Be safe. So all we tell you is be safe. There's more Metro and cops out there, and right now, just be safe. Enjoy the holiday. Bring in a new year because you're, as Brad Grunberg, a famous friend of the show, said, 2023 doesn't matter. Your health is your wealth. Give me a great, John, you got to have a great New Year's Eve. Was it a party you went to? You passed out? Make one up.
I don't, here's the goofy thing is that, I'll give you just the opposite. We were in, for New Year's Eve, we were in Vieques with a group of people. And we were in this great house, and up on top, there was a loft where you could go outside and be up on top. You can see the water, you can see all the fireworks, stuff like this, I fall asleep at 11 o'clock and my wife is up there alone watching the fireworks because the old fart here fell asleep because either I drank too much or I ate too much. I'm trying to think because I don't usually do. I'm like, your warning. I don't go out on New Year's Eve. To me, it's kind of crazy. My best New Year's Eve was in Vegas. We were in Vegas for the opening of the MGM Grand was opening up, and Barbra Streisand was performing on New Year's Eve. And we actually got tickets to go to that. And it was so long that, it was after New Year's by the time she finished, by the time we got out of there, but it was great. So for me, Vegas is always a great place. And, since I'm no longer living there, I really take it easy on New Year's Eve based on your recommendation of being safe. So like tonight, we're in a community here where we're just staying within the community here with about 8 other couples.
We want you to go out, but this typical John Daly New Year's, and I'm going to tell him the real story. Him and Terry get up. Okay. They take a shower. They put their terry cloth robes on, whatever hotel they're in. Okay. They get room service. They pass the Grey Poupon. They go out and play 18 holes. They come back on their balcony and they drink their marmalade champagne flutes, which is on Undercover Jet Setter, another show that John does. Okay. Then they go and they watch Robin Leach, Tales of the Millionaires. Then they go out to the restaurant that night, get their beef Wellington, and again some more champagne. And they go back and they pass out. Okay. That's a John Daly for all our listeners and viewers. And John's going to go through all our people that you could listen and view us on in a minute. That's a John Daly. This is a fish. This is a fish New Year's Eve. Okay, back in the day. Get up. What are all these hookers and tweakers doing in my house? Right. Vicky's cooking for him because she takes him off the street, right? And she's making some kind of a pasta dish, right? So we all eat together and we watch the New Year's bowl games or New Year's Eve bowl games and stuff like that. I know who these people are. We're handing out toothbrushes because they have limited teeth, all right? And then we kind of like move into the new year and we kind of meet everybody and talk. I find out some of my cousins, some are people off the street. And then I go to work that night and I get up the next day, all right? Some are sleeping with my wife, some aren't. And I say, well, it's time for the NFL. Everyone out. That's a typical fish New Year's Eve. All right.
I love it.
I love it. Hey, John, we're heading into 2023. Before you tell everybody about Daily Fish and what's happened on January 12th, we started this on April 21st of 2021. So we'll be heading into our second year. Great things coming up this year. And Let everyone know where they could see us and where they could hear us, and we have some good interviews coming up.
We do have some good stuff coming up. And just if you don't know, we are Daily Fish. We come to you from Vegas, Myrtle Beach. I'm John Daly. He is Eric Fish Schneider. We also have the Hard Line with John Hardison from the Cost of Winning podcast. He'll be back with us on Monday. Now, usually we're on Monday at noon Eastern, and we will be on this Monday coming up at noon Eastern. And for you folks who are just joining us, we talk sports, entertainment, politics, everything in between. We have a ton of fun. We try not to be, we try to be a little controversial. But if you have any questions or you got stuff you want us to cover, email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. And what's coming up on January 12th is we have Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad and a lot of other different things. So that's coming up on January 12th. Who is it? I'll send you an interview we did with him to remind you.
Who's Bryan Cranston? I've never heard of the guy. I'm still having nightmares of your story that, wow, talk about opposites attracting. Let me tell you what else we're going to have on. We got a kid that's one of our biggest fans named Casey Evans. He's a legendary bartender in Las Vegas. So we're going to do more bartender stories and bring them on because he's got stories. He came in with his beautiful girlfriend, Jade. They work at a bar very close to mine. And, she's always smiling and they're just great stories from different bartenders. We're also going to have coming on named Todd Edwards, who I locked up today. Todd Edwards just retired from many years in law enforcement. He wants to talk about some of the stories and why you should get into law enforcement and not be not be detracted from doing it. So we're going to set those up in January. But John, you scoring Cranston is phenomenal because not only is he a big LA sports fan, he's like one of the guys.
He really is. And if you see our earlier interview with him about a year ago, he came on the show and he actually mixed a drink because he has Dos Hombres mezcal. And so he dives right in. He's one of the nicest guys. And again, I'm fortunate enough. I met him back in 1983 when he was on the soap opera Loving. And we just maintained our friendship. And when I was in Hollywood doing real TV, we spent a lot of time together, did a lot of different things. And so he's always stayed in touch. And, when I first met him, I mean, he was always a great actor, but it's just recently people have really seen that he's kind of almost the Sir Laurence Olivier of the 21st century. I mean, that's what a great actor he is.
Top 5 actor in the world. Top 5 actor. So I don't want I'll jump over you. Not only top 5 actor in the world. He'll talk about. He's got the second season coming. If you haven't seen him in Your Honor, that the first season was phenomenal. It takes place in New Orleans. The second season is coming out, so he'll talk about that. And he's just every time and I know he sneaks into Vegas with Aaron Paul. So we're gonna get him in Chuck's Tavern, and I'm gonna get him a little tweaker. I'm gonna go a little drunk. Tell some stories about people love to hear stories about what goes on behind the scenes in these things. So and get some Daly stories. People always say to me, "How did you and John Daly meet?" And I said, "Well, I was doing I was interviewing for a job at a place called the Green Door, which is a sadomasochistic joint, and John was a manager. And John comes up, he's wearing leather, he's got this ball plug in his mouth, and he looked at me and he goes, "Fish? Didn't you work at Oasis?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, and he's got all these we can't call them midgets, we call them short people around him. They're tugging at his leather and they're saying, and John goes, "Fish, you gotta do me a favor, man. Can you get tickets for the Raiders in Oakland?" This is that long ago. I go, "Yeah." We had a good conversation. John walked away, whipped a couple of midgets, and that was it. We developed a friendship. I said, kind of guy I want to hang out with.
Actually, I get a lot of it too, but I tell a completely different story. I tell them we wrote screenplays together, which is actually the truthful side of the story.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, I know. I mean, look at all the movies that we created.
Actually, I meet John at a place called the Roadrunner on Washington and Buffalo. Long story short, I'll give you some information. We're going to New Year. Comes in, I knew he was from Real TV, and I saw him on Channel 13 News with Kathy Ray. He's a good-looking dude, and all the girls are going crazy. And he sits with this schmuck. And we end up writing a screenplay because John, we had Carol Simon was a juror on the Ted Binion trial case, right? We're writing a screenplay for two mob guys. Well, not Gianni Russo, you know, from The Godfather, and this other guy, I won't mention his name. All right. So we meet these guys always at the Canyon Gate Golf Club, clubhouse, because one of the mob guys, the mob guy always has 2 or 3 women, including his wife, and they're John. They're eyeballing John up and down. And I'm thinking to myself, because I have more street sense than John does. I go, John, these women want to bang you. And if you have any devil in you, like the scene in Animal House with the young kids getting ready with a girl, and the one says, screw her, bang her, suck her tits. And the other one says, Lawrence, you are a church-going guy. Say a church-going guy, because you're going to get whacked before we ever write the screenplay. Oh, so great.
Notice it didn't happen. I'm still here. I didn't get whacked.
No, you didn't get whacked. Did we sit there and Johnny Russo's telling stories about The Godfather? Always got a toothpick in his mouth. Nice guy.
Yeah.
And the other guy passed away, but that was a great experience. Yeah. We should write a screenplay. We should write a screenplay about writing that screenplay. That'd be funny. Actually, like that. Remember the movie? I told you to watch this thing on Paramount Plus called The Offer with Miles Teller, with the making of The Godfather. We could do a mini series about you and I. Okay, Ben Stiller could play me, and Pierce Brosnan could play you. You know, and you know what? We could pitch this. Brad Grunberg's a producer. Brad, if you're out there, I know you're watching right now. Yeah. I got a great the way we met and the way we wrote that screenplay and the meetings that we had, and I think John's going to get whacked, and Jimmy's calling me on my phone at 2 in the morning. When's the screenplay going to be done? Come on. Guy sounded just like Joe Pesci, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he really did. And God rest his soul, he's passed away. He died suddenly from a bad accident on slipping on ice. But it's funny. It's funny you bring that up, because I mentioned this to somebody the other day. I go, what are the 2 words you hate to hear when you're standing at a urinal?
Nice dick.
I actually said that to somebody the other day when we were down in Hilton Head, and he cracked up, and I said, famous lines from a great screenplay.
Yeah, nice dick. That's happening. So no, and you know what? Bottom line is we have a wonderful 22-year friendship out of this, and we kept watching. John and I got together all the time for those out there that are really, really care about us meeting. I always hear from Marcus Mosier, Casey. How do you and Daly meet? We kept a great friendship. He's moved out of Vegas since 2010, and I know deep down, even though you're passing the Great Poupon along, all your elitists there in a beautiful part of North Carolina where the fuck you live. I know you miss Vegas. I know it deep down. Don't kid yourself. You miss it here.
Oh, no, I'd be the first to tell you that. And, unfortunately, because of COVID, I wasn't able to get out there because of the traveling. But up until then, I was out there quite a bit and, talking over a lot of different things. And so, what I'm hoping is that what we're going to do is, this show takes off and we've got to go do it out in Vegas. So, no, I'd love to be back there. It's I miss it. I miss it. It was one of the greatest places in the world to live. Yeah, that too. As long as it's that too.
It is. Well, anyone's got any money, we're looking for investors and stuff like that. But yeah. I talk over John a lot because he's just, and then I got to go to tell a story because this is reminiscing at the end of the year, and we tell. So John and I'm flying. I'm covering a draft for American Online, and I had to give up the assignment. My mother guilted me because my schmuck cousin's getting married in L.A. John's flying in for business because John had to have a house in Toluca Lakes. We both fly to Burbank trip, right? John, of course, on Southwest Airlines is in the A list 1 through 15, and I'm in B section. So John's up there, and I said, "Save a seat for me when you get on." I got these 2 Jewish yentas saying to me, "That's him. That's got to be him." And I said, "You talking about that guy sitting up there? Isn't that Pierce Brosnan?" I go, "Yeah, I'm his agent." "You think you can get us his autograph?" And I said, "Yeah." Another one says, "Nah, forget it. Maybe it was Tom Selleck." We get on the plane, right? And we're sitting there together on the plane, and there's this guy two rows in back of me. He's a savant. He's got Asperger's. He's got Tourette syndrome, but he's just going off about the first round of the NFL draft. All right. On the plane, drink off the plane. I drive out to the hotel with the faces in Thousand Oaks. John goes and he has his meetings in Hollywood and Beverly Hills and his his Rodeo Drive friends. And I go to a deli and I start drinking and I start eating. And I go to my hotel room and I pass out, right? And the alarm doesn't go off. I get to the wedding and thank God it was raining because it was supposed to be outdoors. I get there and look at my mother's face. She goes, "What's wrong with you? You missed a damn wedding. You're going to miss a damn." It was so great. So my uncle walks up to me and says, "You know what? You're late. You're late, goddammit." He says, "By the way, who the hell is taking the second round?" And I said, "Marcus Tuiasosopo out of Washington." "He's a schmuck." Walks away from me. So great stories John and I have, and we're going to continue with great stories. It's all about family. We don't hold anything back on this show. I got a lot of hate mail, so I say what I think. I can't stand politicians. John's more in the middle. John's got a brand. I don't. That's my brand. I'm a Raider fan. I'm a loser. Okay. I follow a team. I'm not a loser. I'm loyal. Okay. I'm loyal to an organization that loses if I love this football franchise. But I'm going to tell you how I can't stand politicians. I can't stand anyone. All right. John's going to be the informative one. He's going to tell you because he's got a big, big history in politics. So when you talk about politics, me, it's sports, hookers, entertainment, tweakers, hookers, sports, eating, deli, Italian. It's my life.
I'm with you on that. And not only that, it's and what I've had a lot of people tell me when they watch the show is not only do they enjoy the sports and entertainment, but they love how we kind of we weave in some of the politics that's going on. Because believe it or not, even though we want to separate politics from sports and entertainment, it's all weaved into it. And until you understand what's really going on, what's affecting people, and unfortunately, people are just getting way too angry. And I think this upcoming year, I think you're going to see a lot of chaos, but I also think you're going to see a lot of good stuff coming up. So, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, there he goes. The handsomest guy on the planet at 70 years old, however this guy is always a Debbie Downer a lot. But I'll tell you what, all right, we're going to survive. We're going to live. I have a problem, John. I want to ask you to get us out of here. I want to ask you this. You just threw something that I want to throw back at you. I have a problem with athletes being the voice. And when something happens politically or something in the arena, maybe, division, I don't know if they're the right people, but they have a voice. And I don't know if I want to listen to that voice because I know I'm 62 years old. I want to know what's going on. If you're 30 years old, what do you know that's really going on? If you're a multimillionaire, you've been pampered your whole life. I don't care. I'm a street guy. I'm on the street. I'm going to work like John Daly does, like most of our audience does. So if you're an athlete, you have a right to we want you to educate the youth, but it's disingenuous when COVID came out, and I'm watching certain athletes, and I love this guy. I'm rooting for Deion Sanders, but him and Ellen DeGeneres, when COVID, we first shut down, and we're all scared as fuck about what's going on. Everyone's not working. Right. And first thing commercial I see is Deion sitting on his balcony with a glass of wine in front of his lake. He says, "We're going to get through this. We're going to be okay." Yeah, you are. You're a zillionaire. But LeBron James comes out and says, "Well, the Lakers send doctors to give us name, I think." No doctor sent anyone to my house or John Daly's house or your house. Okay? Careful what you say because the masses have more of a populace than you do. Am I wrong, John?
No, you're absolutely right. And I say, I think athletes, I think actors, I think doctors, you have a right to your opinion. You have a right to voice your opinion. But at the same time, too, unless you're aware of how your opinion is coming across, that you're trying to affect an audience, you've got to understand that. So as long as you're informed and as long as you're somebody who listens to another side, that might be opposed to yours and at least acknowledge it. That to me is the big thing. So for instance, I don't have a hard time with people expressing their opinion, and I try not to attack an opinion because I haven't walked in their shoes. So I always say to people, just listen. You don't need to knock somebody down, but listen and figure out what they're trying to say. And to me, we're not doing that because we've got social media and people are getting angry. I think the anger is beginning to come down a little bit, to be honest with you. I think people are tired of what's been going on over the last 6 years. And I think we want to get back to a little bit more normalcy. And I think we're beginning to. I just beginning to feel that, even though there's still a lot of angry people out there.
There are, and and it's our job. Ask Casey Evans when he comes on the show. Our job as bartenders is to basically serve you, make you happy, get you home safe. It's that simple. It doesn't work that way. But you ask any bartender that's ever done this, and John, you bartended. The people come in pissed off, and I always said to myself, 41 years, I said, why would someone walk into a place and you have what they want, and they're an asshole towards you? It never made any sense to me because you could say get out, and then they got, real quick before you get out of here, I got a guy that comes in. Casey knows this guy. I'll never mention his name. Remember. This guy's 6 from 5 bars in my neighborhood. And I finally saw this guy at a Smith's. There's a Smith's supermarket across the street from Shucks. And he goes, Fish, how come I can't come back in? And I said, and I had to tell him, I said, if you've been 6 at 5 bars in this neighborhood, it's you. It's not us. Okay? Yeah. Look at yourself in the mirror. You've done things and said things. He goes, nah, you guys are upset. So I figured, there's only 5 or 6 bars in the neighborhood. This guy's got to travel to Henderson to get a drink. So, no, there's anger. There's a lot of great people out there. And we're going to bring in the new year on Monday, and we're going to talk about the NFL and what happened in the college football playoffs today and some other politics. We're being hardline in. And I'm excited about the future of Daily Fish going into 2023. Right?
Yeah.
What about you, pal?
Yeah, no, we've got some good stuff brewing, and I think all the response that I'm getting and the numbers that we're seeing that people are following us. So yeah, I'm real excited. I love what we're doing, and it's fun to sit in front of the microphone each week and to start slamming it out and knocking each other and having a good time. So yeah, no, it's great. It's a lot of fun, and there's so much stuff that's going to be coming up this year. So anyway, go for it.
I'll tell you what, you just segued to me, and then we can get us out of here because I don't want to bore anybody with our stories, although people love them. I'm getting text left. Does John really have pass a great poop on? Brad Grunberg, does John really pass a great poop on New Year's Eve? Yeah,
but of course I do.
A lot of talk. A lot of talk. The Raiders are. Yeah, you do. The Raiders are going to dominate the drama of the offseason because what happened with Derek Carr, and we wish him nothing but the best. A great kid, 9 years, and if he's gone, hey, thank you for being a class act. But let me tell you something. Forget this picture. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to give you a Daily Fish breaking news. There's a great chance that this guy, and I'm serious, is a quarterback of the Raiders next season.
Yeah, he's got to lose a little weight, though.
I'm serious. Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady off the TB12 diet, but when he gets here, he'll see the buffets and the great food. I think so. I think Tom Brady. The Raiders are going to need a splash, and I'm trying to be positive about the Raiders. They just getting a kid in the draft. It's dour right now. There were such high expectations, and for everything, for a lot of people's teams. John, before you go, if I was to tell you that Green Bay fighting for their lives, but that these 3 teams that were in the playoffs last, won a Super Bowl, the Rams, the Broncos, and the Raiders, all the teams. Oh, the Broncos weren't in the playoffs, but great expectations with the top defense and Russell Wilson. All those teams would stink this year. You never know.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't have known. You think back just quickly on Brady was you were the first one that brought up Brady going to the Raiders. It had to be about 5-6 weeks ago. The only thing I'm hearing is that he may go to the Saints because he may want to be with Sean Payton, and Payton may come back. So I'm hearing that. I don't know that it's true. If I had to lean, I'm going to go Raiders. That Brady's going to go to the Raiders.
breaking news. Sean, the George Payton, who's the general manager of the Denver Broncos, said, we are the coach that we name will have complete control of our football operations. Well, John Gruden ain't coming back in the league. It's going to be Sean Payton. So Sean Payton should be a good fit for Russell Wilson. I'll tell you, is going to the Saints. Derek Carr. Dennis Allen, the head coach, was his first coach in the NFL. Yep. When Derek Carr goes to the Saints, Desmond Ridder is with the Atlanta Falcons. Okay? Who's a quarterback? Sam Darnold in your backyard. Trying to believe in. He could be the best quarterback in that division, and Tampa won't have a quarterback. And he gets out of here with Mahomes in Kansas City and Herbert in with the Chargers. John, real quick before we go, I'm gonna tell you something. The Chargers got in the playoffs with the most injuries in the league this year. Be careful of them. That's my Cinderella team that can make some noise in the AFC.
I love their
congratulations
defense,
to Daly. If the Giants beat the Colts tomorrow, which I'm predicting, the Giants won 4 games last year, been horrible for 5 years. It's a rebuilding year. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Dave Pinotti, John Daly, all you guys. Victor Benedetto, congratulations. You deserve it. That's a great story too. Absolutely. All right, brother.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm committed.
You're done. You've had enough. Absolutely. All right. Hey, folks, thanks for listening in. Again, we're Daily Fish. We're on Facebook at daily.fish.5. You can subscribe there. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon. You can watch us on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Check out Daily Fish on Wingding TV as well, and also Hey Vegas TV. You can also get our updates on Twitter and on Facebook. We post a lot of news stuff, so make sure you are looking at that. Make sure to subscribe to us there. So anyway, Happy New Year, buddy. Looking forward to today, and looking forward to Monday when we kind of wrap up a good part of the seasons and get into the really heady playoffs.
Yeah, great stuff. Happy New Year, buddy. Be safe. Terry,
you too.
Take care of him. Oh. John, watch a porno tonight. Do something, okay? The Hallmark Channel is not something you should do on New Year's Eve. I'm working tonight. I'm in it. I'm in the trenches. So do me a favor, just tell when you come on Monday and you said that you watched a porno called Gladiator or Forrest Humps or Harry H. Sally or Debbie Does Dallas or John Does Them All.
How about a Hawaiian one called Come On, I Want to Lay You?
Oh my God, that came out of you. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting us out of here. Mahalo. Come on, I'll lay you.